So with training in the morning, supplementation becomes even more important. So we have electrolytes, then I drink this first thing, get this down, get myself hydrated, then pre-workout before I go and train, and then I've got an intra-workout drink which contains creatine, cyclic dextrin, and EAAs to get me through my session as well. All liquid form, all super easy to digest, means I can get some nutrition into me, means I can get myself ready to go and train without having to think about getting up to go and eat, without having to get up early to go and eat and compromise the amount of sleep that I'm getting or anything like that. So this means things are super simple, super quick, and it means that I can be awake and an alarm go off at 5:30, out the door at 5:50 and start training at 6. So everything is super quick, super easy to do first thing, and stops me faffing about in the mornings. So plan for today, I'm still in my first week post-deload, so we are slightly easing back into training. Volume is low in this leg session today, and I'm keeping a little bit in the tank so I'm not absolutely wrecking myself and battering myself. Movement-wise, we have adductors, hamstring curls, calves, and then 2 main lifts are reverse banded hacks and leg presses. So, let's go train. So first up we have calves. Now, I've actually moved these to the start of my session because I found when I was doing them at the end, the quality of them was always suffering because I was so goosed by the end, I couldn't actually get any output into them at all. So I moved into the beginning, I found I could load them up a heck of a lot more, get a huge amount of work into them, and then, surprise, surprise, my calves have then started to grow from there. Now, the main cues that I'm thinking about here, and you'll be able to see this from the side clip just here, is as I think about coming down to the bottom, I'm thinking about getting my heels as far underneath as possible, then as I come up, going nice and tall up onto my toes, and a little pause in that top position. No, hey George as well. Then from here, the second movement is adductors. Now, adductors are actually a movement that a lot of people will not do that often, but they really, really help with kind of building that thickness and that size to your lower body, especially when looking at things from the front. So, little tip for that, if you try and develop that as much as possible, add some more adductor work into your lower body sessions, and you're going to notice that overall size and as I said, that thickness of that lower body will really start to come through from there. Also, quite a good way to open your hips up before you then go into the rest of your work. Now, third exercise, third isolation movement here is a seated hamstring curl. I've actually got this set up a little bit differently at the minute. So rather than doing, say, 2 or 3 sets of X amount of reps, I've got one long extended giant set on here, which is absolute savagery. So the way it's set up is I've got 40 reps in total to get through. Now I pick a load on here that I reckon I can get about 15 to 20 reps with. And all I then do is I'll do that first set, I'll take it to failure. I'll take 30 seconds just to kind of sit there, as I'm doing here, try not to die, then I'll set up and I'll go again. And then what I want to be doing is, say after that first set, if I can get another 7, I'll then take that same 30 seconds and continuing to go through like that until I've got to that 40 reps in total. It will normally take me about 4 or 5 sets in total to get that amount of work done, and this little mini set here is the very, very ending to this set. So the final few reps that I need to take off, the final few ones that I need to get in, it's horrible by the end. The first few ones aren't too bad, but the finish point is absolutely disgusting. Then from here, we go into my first real main compound movement of the 2, so hacks and leg presses in place. I've got a reverse band in here to take a little bit of load out the bottom so I can have the overall challenge to the entire movement being a lot higher. Main thing I'm thinking about here is just keeping as much control coming down through that eccentric as possible, maximising that range down the bottom of the rep while I'm still keeping myself forced back into that pad and then contracting nice and hard to get out the bottom again from here. I'm also trying to keep these as continuous as possible, so not falling into that trap of, as things start to get a bit difficult, coming up to the top of the rep, pausing for maybe 5 seconds, taking 2 or 3 deep breaths, and then squeezing out 1 more. Otherwise, all that ends up doing is you take sufficient rest, you just have to keep things moving from there. I'd rather keep things a little bit more continuous, take things close to failure, and then they're done and dusted. That felt good. I always struggle a little bit with reps in reserve because I find it much easier to be the black and white thinking and just taking things to failure and pushing things as hard as possible. But I'm slowly getting better at it. I know why it's useful and why we need to do it now, with it being first week post-deload. So hacks done, 2 heavier sets, 1 slightly light back set, all kept kind of 2 or 3 reps in the tank. So just leg pressing to go, and we're all done. And then to finish with, we have the leg press. Now, the aim and the intention for this leg press here is actually to try and make this as hip dominant, so hamstring and glute dominant as I can. Obviously the hack is going to be much more quad biased, just naturally with how the movement is set up. So to try and make this, as I said, as hip dominant as I can, I'm playing about in a few different positions. I'm not massively changing the positioning of my feet. The biggest thing I'm changing is actually my intention. So when I'm at the bottom of the rep as I am here, I'm thinking about driving my hamstrings and my thighs essentially down and towards the floor, and really ramping up that internal focus through my hamstrings. Obviously my quads are still going to do a decent amount of work, but the more I can think about doing that, the more work I can get down the back of my lower body, so I'm balancing out that total work between the two across the entire session. 3 sets on here, done and dusted, and it's back home, get all the food down me, and the day starts.